Good evening, Baltimore. This is Harry Gray and Coach Sam. This is Changing Baltimore.
Co-host Coach Sam.
And we're glad to be in front of you for another week of Changing Baltimore. It's cold outside. The weather's changing. How you feeling, Sad?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Thank you, man. We just want to start off real quick, man. We have a question of the day that's going to kind of lead us into our segment. And the question of the day is for everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening. Do we have the proper leadership in Baltimore City? We are approaching 300 plus murders, and the mayor said he's not committing the murders, so you can't blame him.
Wow.
He's half right. Hey, he's not out there committing the murders, but we do have an issue in Baltimore City. So, again, the question of the day is, do we have the proper leadership with elections coming up in the next couple of months? Who are you going to vote for? Are you satisfied or what's going on? You can answer that question of the day by writing in on our Facebook page, Harry Gray or Changing Baltimore, or you can call in and give us your, comments. And that's 410-417-7067. I told you one week I was going to forget the phone number.
I thought it was the day, boy.
Yeah, I almost said the wrong thing, man. But we are glad that this show is still here. We're still looking for sponsorships, still looking for donations, as we want to come to you each and every week to bring you something for our youth, bring you something for Baltimore City. We're not going to claim that we are the best. We're not putting any other shows down. But I think, what we do is really prevalent to our community and the helping of pretty much getting us healthy.
Absolutely.
And we got some guests coming on this week, man, that I think you guys are going to love. They're going to keep it real like we do each and every week. We wanted to kind of start off, again with some of the playoff scores, man. We want to hit the ground running early, man. Just call out some of these scores, man. 54-0, 43-0. 53-6. So those are the type of games that we got in the first round of the playoffs, and we're going to touch on, a little later once we get to the state high school playoffs and what's going on, and celebrate some of the things that happened in Baltimore City football this year. But I said that let's piggyback a little bit on the question of the day. The leadership in Baltimore. Growing up in Baltimore City, we've seen a lot of things change. Crime is not the same crime it was when we were coming up. The neighborhoods are not the same neighborhoods. I know we definitely talk about the changing of East Baltimore as far as the revitalization of what they're going to do, and how does that impact the people that's living down there right now. Tell me, are we in better shape now, or we were in better shape years ago?
Man, I used to think when they used to come out of Plato's Wheels back in the 80s that was rough, but nowadays, man, it's just, and like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, I just don't think that we know the root of the problem. like we haven't really scratched the surface. I just don't think we know what it is, and so to try to attack something that we don't know, that's just it's just not happening. We need to find what the root of the problem is and try to solve it. But our leaders don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Is it a thing that do we care? I know a few segments that we had, a few episodes that we had prior to this one. We talked about if certain things don't hit your doorstep, we don't care. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about all the murders, when we talk about the crime, if it doesn't directly affect us, we seem like we really don't care about it. And I think that's the approach throughout Baltimore. As long as it doesn't hit my doorstep, I'm good.
I agree.
But I don't think we need to have that approach. Even with the Baltimore City school system, mm-hmm. Well, my child is good, so I'm good. Well, the education system actually affects everybody. And when we're not straight, then our community can't be straight. So we got to get everything fixed. We got to come together as one and stop saying it's about me, the I type attitude.
Yeah, I think we sometimes as coaches, and because I can speak for them because I've been doing it a long time, I think we perpetuate it sometimes because, we willing to go to work and then we just ride by the communities that need us and we just go home. But we don't go sit down with those guys, kids rather, and talk to them and tell them what's success, like how do we make it, or how do we go, or even trying to even get to college, like how do you even go to college? You explain college to a kid and he's just lost. Know nothing about the SAT or any of that. Like they have no clue. But we just ride by, and go home, in our comfortable homes, and so we part to perpetuate that negativity.
Yeah. And reading something on Facebook about a week ago, someone made a statement. If your child is getting D's and F's and you're still getting them those Jordans, those Gucci belts, you are part of the problem. And we definitely, I see it on an everyday basis. Kids are not succeeding at the middle school level. Not just the high school, but the middle school level. But they come to school, they squared out. They got it. They Gucci, as they say.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what you going to do in the next 4 to 5 years? And they have no idea. So we got to prepare our kids. Mm-hmm. So we have a guest coming up in our first segment, man, that's going to come in, keep it real. Has been dealing with kids for a long, long time. In the school system, it's been coaching, mentoring. It's going to kind of talk about some of those things. So hopefully we can get Baltimore started on the right track. All right. So again, we'll be right back with our first segment. Welcome back, everybody. First segment of Change of Baltimore, episode 20.
20.
We are sponsored by Mo's Famous Seafood on Pulaski Highway, Tone Drone LLC, and Brainstream Media. Anybody that's out there that wants to donate to our program, wants to sponsor our episode, again, please give us a call, 410-417-7067, or you can shoot me an email at harrygrade36@hotmail.com. We need it to definitely keep the show going. We love what we do. We love giving back to Baltimore, so we want to keep this show up and running. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first guest. Young man that I've known. I call him young because I'm actually older than what he is, even though he acts like my big brother a lot of times. A guy that's known well in the community and throughout Baltimore, and I would say even the state of Maryland. Mr. Gary Smith, how you doing, Mr. Smith?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I like to say, these guys do a hell of a job putting the show together. Appreciate you guys for having me. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a great platform.
Yeah, and thank you for coming, because Gary said, hey, man, the show ain't legit until he's on there, so I guess we certified right now.
Well.
Certified, we got the A1 stamp right now, man. So tell me, Gary, what have you been up to, man, in the last couple of years since you actually left coaching?
Well, I'm just going to be brief about me, really. I'm passionate about the city of Baltimore, the youth in Baltimore, and football in Baltimore, the state of Maryland as a whole. I've been doing the same thing, mentoring, developing, trying to guide children's lives in the right direction, trying to make a network that's impactful and leave something behind for the city to build on.
So again, with growing up in Baltimore, Northeast Baltimore, East Baltimore, you've seen things change. You've seen things be built, seen things been torn down, you've seen crime. You have actually was a victim of crime a long time ago, man. Tell me what you see in these youth today that's kind of different than when you were growing up.
Oh, man. Well, the leadership, for one. When I was growing up, we had guys who we looked up to who Coach Pompey used to always say, they dressed the part. They looked like who they were supposed to look like. They walked the way they were supposed to walk. So we had guys to follow in leadership positions. However, the change is that our leadership today has more knowledge and more resources than the leadership of yesterday. But those guys, they walk the walk a lot better than we do. So the kids, they only can follow what the leadership is there for them to follow. And right now, I feel like we're running amok. We don't have structure. We don't have discipline. We don't have values, morals. We don't stand on anything. The kids are now allowed to be and do as they say and rely on excuses when consequences come. I think that's horrible for our kids when you talk about the way they're going, because now they don't understand discipline and consequence, how they go together.
Right. So what's the answer? Because we've all been kind of skating around and said, the kids do what they do because there's no rec centers. Kids do what they do because there's nothing else out here. Let's come up with some solutions. What's one thing, if Gary Smith was mayor today, what's one of the things he would change or add to Baltimore to kind of curb the crime?
Okay, so let's go back to the question: do we have proper leadership? That's coming all the way from the Annapolis, where they make laws and make change. These people have never seen the inside of rec centers in Baltimore City, so they're implementing policies and regulations for us to follow, and they haven't seen the inside of our house. So a lot of times, man, it's the wrong person that's in leadership, number one, and we just got to fix that, and then we kind of catch a new dog with an old trick. We got to go back to our old way of life, accountability, tough love, strict discipline, and let everything else figure itself out. We've gone soft as a society.
So even touching on the school system, the school system has been a lot different. I just really, truly think we are collaring now kids even at school.
Yes.
When you sit back and say, oh, you know what? 60 is passing. But, we know you don't test well, so we're going to throw you a bunch of tests.
Yeah. So we're here on the platform. Just stop coddling. Stop making excuses. We know right from wrong, and we make excuses to support our heart, right? We developing soft, broken young men. We're not building champions. We're not building leaders. We're not building strong men. We're building soft men who are allowed to escape and make excuses. When I was growing up, there was no excuse. There was accountability, and that's it. And that's the way I live now. I live on accountability. I hold my friends, colleagues, people, peers, everybody. I hold them accountable. One of my favorite sayings is, never let a man's bankroll make a coward out of you. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you're still gonna be held accountable. So it's not about money when we out here in everyday life. It's about being humble, walking the right walk, and being accountable in your daily living. That's how we're gonna inflict change. Other than that, man, I think we adding to the problem. Like said it earlier, we adding to the problem.
Yeah, we definitely perpetuate that problem. But your comment was kind of microcosm to my little league season, because I had a team, man, that I think some of the parents was finding excuses for young men, and I think that they wasn't like letting the coaches really coach.
Right.
And some of them kind of, to me, felt entitled. Mm-hmm. And it was bad. And we try to lead, and sometimes it was mistaken for us just being strict on the kids, or everything was punitive, when in essence we just trying to show them how to be men.
That's right.
But it was bad. But I definitely see where you're coming from, and the excuses that we make for these boys, man, it's just bad, man. Yeah. It's just really, really bad.
It is. I mean, I just come from 4 rec centers, and each center, I'm talking to them about what they have and what's missing, right? We have an umbrella of rec centers, but we don't have infrastructure in those centers. So I put together a program with some colleagues of mine to put structure in those centers. Hopefully that gives us a platform in the communities where, we can get some of these kids in some of our structured programs, and then put our leadership on them. But we also looking for game changers, so anybody that's interested in getting involved in your community in the rec center, please, hit me on Facebook, inbox me, and or inbox Harry Gray. He can get in touch with me. But I'm looking for game changers in the community who are serious about making change. We have a beautiful city on the water, and we really tear our city up. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at the old pictures of Baltimore, the streets were so clean, the neighborhoods were beautiful, and now we just run amok, man. We do anything out here, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm lost for words right now.
and let me tell you how things changed so much. I was thinking about this about a week ago. I was rough about 14, 15 years old. And the old neighborhood I grew up in off the Alameda, up North Road. I'm mad at those guys right now, but nevertheless, it was around the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And we was like, hey, we're going down the harbor. And I caught the bus down the harbor, and I couldn't find those guys. And then back then, there was no cell phones.
Right.
So you're sitting there, you're putting your coins in the payphone, waiting for them. You're hitting the pager, waiting for them to call you back. Mm-hmm. No one calls back. So I get to walking. Next thing I know, I find myself across the street at the bus stop by my Old Town Mall.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now here, I'm not a brisk walker, but I can walk from the harbor to Old Town Mall. I sat there in the dark for about 30 minutes waiting for the bus. And the bus didn't come. I said, you know what, I'm going to start walking. I'm going to walk this 8 line, because back then it was the 8.
Up your road.
And I'm walking up Greenmount, and back then you could say, hey, what's going on? And people like look at you like, okay, you're not from the neighborhood, but he walking.
Right.
You're fine. Next thing I know, I find myself by McCabe and Oyo Road.
Oh, that's a hump.
It's a hump. And I'm like, dude, I'm almost home now. Forget the bus. But I'm thinking about, could I make that walk right now with how the crime and everything is in Baltimore? See, honestly, I truly felt safe. Once I got by Greenmount, I felt safe. I felt safe once I got to 33rd Street.
Right.
Then, anxiety kicked back in once I got there. McCabe
There's going to be a ton of anxiety on that walk today, right? A ton. You may need to stop into one of the mental health centers along the way with the amount of anxiety. But here's what I think. I think people don't care. They don't care anymore. It was a time when certain people weren't allowed in our neighborhood enterprising or doing anything. And now you see that. You see all kinds of stuff going on now. It's like the Wild Wild West. So now I think you walking that walk, there's going to be anxiety because you're going to be so close to death. But I think those people just don't care. Like you'll see like people do crime right in front of you as if you wasn't there. And that's part of what I'm saying, young fella. We in school behaving like we on the playground, correct? And I think that's a problem. Kids can't differentiate their behaviors accustomed to where they are anymore, and it trickles into adulthood. You have some adults that come into a quiet library and act as if they are in the car with on a family road trip. You know what I'm saying? So I mean that's another part of our city's the mental health concern, man.
Talking on the phone while it's on speaker in the library.
Yeah, you on the phone on speaker in the library, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I think that parenting has a lot to play in that. Again, just looking back at our time, because y'all are in y'all 40s. I don't want to say I just turned 50,
wow.
But
5-0.
Yes. Oh,
man,
goodness, I feel it.
You look good, though.
I'm 50.
You look good.
Oh, you fit? But you don't look like me. I got all this gray.
Well, y'all look good, man. Y'all look good.
You know what I mean? Velvet teddy bear, baby.
There you go, man. But growing up on Up North Road, when we would do something, the other parents would correct it, and they would tell you, "I'm going to tell your mama or your dad when they get home."
Man,
and
so
that changed.
Again, train a new dog with an old trick. Back to accountability. We don't even know our neighbors anymore. I was just talking to Eric Tate about that.
Right.
The neighborhood was some men that will hold you accountable down the end of that block.
Yeah.
And you can't just run amok in the neighborhood. Now everybody minding their business. Everybody got their mouth shut, right? So it's no accountability, and the relationships is a big part of that too. Yeah. Because part of it is I can't say anything to this person because it's going to be backlash, and then another part of it is I don't have the relationship to speak to him openly.
Yeah. So again, Mr. Smith, man, thank you for coming on the show. I do want you to, on our next segment, still stay on the panel, because we're going to kind of switch to the sports a little bit. I'm gonna move you to the to my right over so Coach said.
Yeah,
we're going to switch because we can't keep beating the dead horse.
Right.
Because I know there are some people that's going to sit back and say, you know what, this does touch me. Let me make a difference. There's a lot of people that's out there that say, again, hasn't hit my doorstep, so I don't care.
Right.
But we're going to keep putting out our message. We're going to keep putting it out. I think you was trying to organize a walk or a movement.
Yeah.
Because someone actually that passed.
So a friend of mine, his son passed. We all know Mike Wise. It was Mike Wise III actually who was killed on Halloween, trick-or-treating with his daughter. And I just wanted the Game Changers to kind of support Mike because he's an East Baltimore guy. Everybody in East Baltimore know him. And whatever his mission is going to be, I just wanted to get the guys together and let him know that we got guys that are ready to support your mission, because I know it's something coming. It's not my place to create the mission. But I just wanted to get the guys lined up so that when he ready to implement it, he got a team that say, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start a foundation, whatever it might be. He has the support.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because he did a lot for kids in this area. Yes. Unfortunately, man. But that's another senseless crime, right? In front of children on a holiday that people just don't differentiate where they are. They don't have rules, no accountability.
So we'll be right back with segment 2 of Changing Baltimore. Welcome back, Baltimore. This Changing Baltimore, episode 20, man.
20.
We just had a deep conversation on what it's going to take to change Baltimore, what's some of the problems. We always talk about the problems, but I think we actually tried to come up with some solutions on what needs to be done to change Baltimore. We just need to really get into somebody getting together and saying, hey, look, you know what? Let's invest in Baltimore. I don't think we invest enough. We do the marches, we do the protests, but now let's invest. So people that have the money, that have the time, now it's time to say, okay, I need to invest in where I stay. We can't keep saying we're going to move out. We can't keep ignoring the problem. We have to invest. And this is one of the things that Changing Baltimore is trying to do. We're trying to invest in our youth right now. We're going to try to tell you what's good in the community, if there are jobs out there, if there's certain things that's going to help you, any training. But we also want to recognize kids and youth that are doing positive things in Baltimore. And to start our next segment, segment 2, we have a young man that we want to recognize and change in Baltimore who is doing it on and probably off the field. I wanted to introduce everybody to, from Evanston High School, Mr. Daniel Frank. How you doing?
Fine.
All right. This young man is the first ever Changing Baltimore 1A Maryland State Playoff Player of the Week.
Ooh.
And let me tell you what this young man done. It's not easy when you get to the state playoffs and you can rush for 75 yards or 100 yards. But this young man went out there and rushed for 330 yards on 4 touchdowns in the state playoffs. So everybody that can hear me, man, I think he really needs a round of applause for doing that, because that's a great accomplishment. I don't care on what level it's being done. I was actually looking, through the football record books. I was hoping that he had the record so I could announce that he had the record. But Nate Irby from Dunbar, in what year was it, 2000?
2004.
2004 had 400-plus yards rushing. But I also heard that if it wasn't for some penalties, you would have had close to 500 yards rushing. So that's a career for a lot of backs, a lot of ball players, just to say, hey, I rushed for 330 yards. I think I might have had a 60-yard interception return for a touchdown in my career, and that's my highlight of my football career right there, man. But tell me, man, how did it feel when you start hitting your stride during the game?
To be honest, I ain't really feel to add to the game. During the game, I was just focused on winning, trying to contribute to my team however I can. I just was trying to focus on getting to the next round, looking at the bigger picture, trying to get a ring on my finger.
That's it, and that's the way to definitely stay humble. But it seemed like your line had a great day.
Yeah,
to open up
definitely.
For you.
Most definitely. They told me before the game, just keep pushing. They got me. So I just trusted them, was patient, it was rolling.
That's it, Jose.
Well, it's kind of big for me because I coached his dad in 1995. I won the Upton League Championship with his dad. His dad played right guard for me at Lillian S. Jones Recreational Center, and we beat Carmelo's team when he played at what's that? I can't remember the team. That's how old I'm getting, right? Yeah, charge it to the age, dog. But he beat Team Carmelo and them that year. But that's an amazing feat, man. I'm proud of you, man. And yeah, make sure you go and you buy the big fellas pizza. You know what I mean? They like to eat. Make sure you treat them uglies, man. You know what I mean? Because guess what? You need them for next week, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let's get into now. We're past the first round of the state playoffs. You kind of got that little monkey off your back. You're facing another Baltimore City team in the Forest Park Foresters. That game is Friday, 7 p.m. at Poly High School. Let's talk a little bit about getting ready for that second round. The running attack, man. Are you gearing up for more of the running attack this week? Or Coach Johnson put something in a little special and going to move you around so they won't concentrate on you?
No, we just focus on the win. Just trying to focus on the win. Like I said, I'm just trying to do whatever so we can continue to get to our main goal. We trying to get down Navy.
That's it, man. We want all the teams in Baltimore. We want to have a big house party down, Annapolis, man. With every team that we can get down there from Baltimore City and even Baltimore County. So we want to take this metro area over and tell everybody what we have planned. So we want to definitely give you this certificate, changing Baltimore State playoff, State Maryland playoff, Daniel Frank Emerson High School Player of the Week. So thank you, man. So tell us, man, you are a senior. What's your plans for next year?
Stay tuned.
So yeah, we want you to come back on the show and pretty much announce where you're going to college, man. Again, Baltimore, you have a talent here. Let's take care of him. Let's treat him like he's our baby, because he is our baby, man. Congratulations and good luck next week against Forest Park. And hopefully, again, you can get that ring on your finger, because I honestly, truly believe that it's going to be the Emerson Red Storm versus the Dunbar Poets in 1A state championship, and I think that will be great for Baltimore City, man.
Yeah, and Carmelo was playing at Mount Royal.
You know you old because it took you 10 minutes.
It took me a long time to remember that.
You
but
came back 10 minutes later.
It was Mount Royal. He wore number 8. I'm telling you, he was tough too, man.
1995. You meant 2005?
95, man.
Carmelo who?
Anthony.
He couldn't have played in 95.
Said it, yeah. See, said it's getting old, man.
I'm telling you, he played for Mount Royal in 95.
Yeah. So we'll be back with segment 3 of Changing Baltimore.
Yo, pass that lighter.
Hey man, welcome back, Changing Baltimore, sponsored by Mo's Famous Seafood, Pulaski Highway, Tone Drone LLC, Brainstream Media. We're rocking, man. This beat, I can kind of listen to this beat all night long, man. Madism, boy. Channel Live. Channel Live. All right. Bringing up in our next segment, man, we have Coach Dominic Howard here from Reginald F. Lewis, man. Somebody say yes. Oh, they just having the party over there. How y'all doing? y'all can talk. Y'all good. Again, Coach Howard, how you feeling, man? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm all right, man. I wish I was here, but able to talk about. I just got out of practice, but that's not the case.
Yeah, rough one last week. You know, played Forest Park, came out on the short end. Kind of talk a little bit about that game. We're not gonna harp on it.
Nah, I mean, Forest Park came out with a great game plan. The coaches had their kids real fired up, and like I told my kids during the practice week, like if you beat a person up one time and like 8 weeks ago, they're gonna come back strong for you. So you got to be prepared. And we kind of just want to focus, and they came out and played better. The kids just wanted it more.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing about sports, man. You can be up one day and back down the next day. You could take an opponent lightly, or you can give them too much credit, and sometimes that ball can bounce a different way, and you can be winners or you can be losers, man. But I told you before, man, that, when we had you on the show before, that, you guys are winners at Reginald F. Lewis. You've been doing it in the Division II level for years. So this year has been no different. So you are the Baltimore City Division II champs, and we would like to open that up, present to you your plaque for the Division II champions of Baltimore City, change of Baltimore. So I hope you guys like it. I hope you appreciate it. It's about changing Baltimore, man. We, again, want to give each and every one of the coaches, players, as much recognition and shout-outs as we can.
Absolutely.
You can even take the plastic off of it, man.
I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna keep it on for a second.
Yeah, so we're good. So, again, man, the season, I know you guys had to, play Lake Clifton, which was, right behind you guys during the regular season. Let's talk about that game a little bit, man, and what actually brought home that plaque for you.
Well, in that game, I guess we had came up with the better game plan because they're a real good team. They got some real good athletes, like the kid Michael Gray, the kid Kawan, number 2, and a guy that they got from me that transferred, number 23. They really came out to play, but we made more plays that game. We just made more plays. We had about 5 turnovers, and our offense was well prepared. I think that's the best game I ever seen my offensive line play. Every running back that touched the ball had a hole to run through, and defense just stepped up and made big turnovers, man. And that game, I think they kind of exerted all that energy. It took a lot out of them, man. It took a lot out of them because they put it all on the line.
Yeah, and I kind of know that feeling. Back in 2014, actually, coaching with Mervo, we played Edmondson the last game of the regular season for the Division I title, and we won that game with about 25 seconds left to play in the game. And I told Coach Nixon, I said, we done for next week. Next week is the first round of the state playoffs. I said, we done. We, did what we set out to do as far as winning the city and exceeded some expectations. So I definitely know how you feel when it comes down to that. Also, can you pass me that box, Coach, over there? White one. We also have the Baltimore City Division I champions. They're not here. I'm assuming they're still at practice. But the Division I trophy goes to the Mervo Mustangs. Undefeated season. I'm not going to give them any more publicity because they're not here. So I'm going to kind of put that down. But, I got the fellas up here, man. We're going to talk a little playoff football, man. Baltimore City, one thing about the 1A, we definitely have a lot of teams, from Baltimore City in that 1A. We have some teams left, but Coach said, and I made some picks last week. Just kind of going to go over those little picks to see who was kind of right. We both said picked Lake Clifton over Carver. I picked Carver, so he was right.
Mo's crab cake on you, bro.
Wait a minute now, because I think I'm going to come out victorious. We both picked Reginald F. Lewis over Forest Park. Then we had Emerson over Francis Scott Key. Said had them in a real close game winning. I had them winning by 8. They won by 14. I think I got the edge. We both picked Dunbar over Douglas. It said they had Dunbar by 10. I had them by 15. They beat by 44. Wow. So I think I got the edge there. We both picked Milford in a wide margin. We both picked Patterson over Hereford. Hereford won. Then we get to the 3A. Said picked City, the blue, the black and orange, and they let them down again. I had Towson, so I won that one. So Towson won 14-6. Then we had both had Mervo. Honestly, truthfully, I had Mervo in a close game against Kenwood. They beat Kenwood 54-0. But even looking at some of those first round games, and we're going to kind of get into this a segue to this. You had again the 54-0, the 40-0, 57-22, 44-0, the 40-0 games. The only close game between a 1 and the 8 seed was River Hill and Wild Lake. And the 8 seed actually beat the 1 seed 14-10. Wow. And that was the only true upset in that first round. So how do y'all guys feel, man, as coaches, about them expanding the playoffs from 4 teams to now 8 teams? You go first, Coach.
I think sometimes, besides like the 1A North, it give you a chance to play other people that you usually wouldn't never play, or they never would get a chance to make it to the playoffs. When you come down to the 1A North, we play each other. Everybody play each other during the regular season. But like that Wild Lake and River Hill game, sometimes it come about the strength of schedule. So that 1 seed might have beat up on some guys that really wasn't that good, and then that 8 seed was playing some tough people that had them prepared for that playoff matchup. And then you also got some teams that just well tuned, that just going to blow the doors off that 8 seed and let it be known that you kind of don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Exactly. Wow. Yep, Coach Gary.
Yeah, well, I think it's an opportunity to play a high level of football a little earlier in the season. Brings out all the competitive juices, but it doesn't really change the bigger picture. Once you squeeze that juice out the lemon, you still gonna get your cream of the crop games. It's just an early introduction to the playoffs. That's all it is. It turns up a little earlier than it normally would.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's let's charge it to the first year. I think it probably get a little better as years go on, but like Coach Gary said, it's an early introduction to it, and hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully.
Well, when you look at a lot of those 8 seeds, a lot of them were either it couldn't be at 500. They were under 500. So I'm looking at it and saying, did they really deserve to be in it?
Again, we go back to the earlier segment, right? We coddle football teams to get in the playoffs.
Right.
We allowing somebody opportunity to do something that really didn't earn it.
Right.
And it didn't show. So we putting out a bad product right now. Just overall, because the game is about competitiveness. It's about earning the right to play for a playoff, for a state championship, and not just being a doormat. Soon you're going to have people saying that somebody's running up a score. You're scoring too many points on the team. So just keep it competitive. That's what I say. Just keep it competitive.
Yeah, and I think it reminds me a lot of the NCAA tournament where you got that 1 versus 16 seed. Yeah. You got Duke versus somebody that you never heard of.
Speaking of which, Evansville beat Kentucky in basketball.
And that's, I guess, where everybody's going with, hey, you're going to get an upset here and there. So you're going to get a Evansville versus Kentucky.
Right.
And Evansville, if they play 100 times, they're going to win 1 game.
They're going to win 1 game?
They're going to win 1 game. And River Hill and Wild Lake did play in the regular season. River Hill blew them out. And this is something that in that Howard County League, they do play each other each and every year. But I guess, hey, it's hard to beat someone twice. I just think if you go around Baltimore City with the teams in Baltimore and you say, well, you know what? You got to play, Merville got to play Dunbar again. It's hard. It's hard. It's going to be tough.
Especially if you got to come to Orleans Street.
We done did that and done that, so but it's like
take the mic.
He took the mic from me. But listen, man. Well, all roads to the state championship come through Dunbar. Whether you beat them in the regular season, you got to see them late. Lawrence do a good job of getting them guys prepared late. It's a process for them. You know what I'm saying? Every year it's a process, and I think Merville is there too. So them being in two separate conferences, we don't get to see that late season matchup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll never see that. We'll never see that.
You know, I kind of like it, man. Everybody says, and, you know, all coaches here in Baltimore City, that, you know, Baltimore City football is watered down. I had a debate with, you know, a gentleman every time I talk to him, honestly, once or twice a week, about the private school, public school debate. Mm-hmm. And I tell him if the private schools were not giving away the money like they were, these kids would still be in
public
schools. You take Dante Thompson, who's probably the best receiver in the MIAA,
yeah.
He would probably be at a city or poly because of the academics. Just imagine him in the Baltimore City League.
Yeah.
It's probably about 3 to 4 kids on each MIAA team that could be at a city or at a Dunbar, a Poly, Mervo, somewhere.
I have a question. What makes a kid go to the MIAA versus the public school?
Yep. Say that one more time, Gary.
What makes a kid go to the MIAA versus the public school?
Well, a lot of them are actually, you know, academics. But I think, you know, a lot of people may say, "Hey, I'm gonna get seen more by more college scouts than being."
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. We talked about the Big 33 game over the summer. There was a Facebook debate about the number of college offers to Power 5 schools in PA versus the number of offers to Power 5 schools in our Maryland metro area. It's a landslide. We don't do a good job of recruiting in our public schools, and then the academic structure is a little off because of the numbers. So when you're in private school, you get a more intimate setting in the classroom, and you get a lot more wraparound, a lot more resources and support than you would at a public school. But like our schools in numbers probably just need to hire more staff. We trying to fit in a certain budget in public schools where the private schools create their own. So the money is kind of where the differences lie. They outnumber us with resources and money. And parents are just moving more towards that. Parents are just kind of looking at that thing and saying, well, you know, their track record is better.
Yeah, we got a call on the line. Hold on. Hello? Hello? Can't hear it. Hello? Hello? Lamar?
That's Lamar.
Can you hear me, Lamar?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you
I can
doing?
hear you loud and clear.
All right.
I'm good.
Calling all the way from California, man. Glad you called in.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to call in.
Yeah, glad to hear from you, man. How's everything been with you?
Things going good, you know. I'm just living a regular life, you know. Graduated from college, doing everything as it is.
That sounds good. Lamar is a former Mervo graduate, doing things in California, played college football out there, man. Doing very well out in California. So, did you have a question or comment, Lamar?
Yeah. So he said that the football is watered down, but I compared to the California high school or the to the Baltimore high school football level, the only difference is that the Baltimore or the East Coast football period is more physical. The only thing that we don't have is the fundamentals. But the last time I came home, I can say that changed because the physicalness is still there, but the fundamentals is catching up with everybody else. And I feel as though y'all could come out California and do y'all thing and play these teams and beat them.
Yeah, I agree with you, champ. I agree with you.
Thanks for calling in, Lamar. Thanks for calling in.
So
All right.
that physicality is under attack as well. They trying to lighten the blow with the way inner city kids play football. So introduce the concussion protocol. You know, I think that's a ploy to slow our kids down. That's not. I mean, it's definitely some science to it, and it's a lot of facts there. But I mean, the game is a physical game, and it's always been that way.
Yeah. So even coach.
I think even
coach.
statistically, they said that like when it comes to the concussion protocol, soccer was like number one.
Right. Yeah.
So, but
where's the protocol for soccer players? You know, you don't get that because they're not as fast and aggressive as inner city kids in football. So suburban moms said, we taught the inner city kids coming and being aggressive with our children.
Changing Baltimore. Changing Baltimore, man. Help you.
Yeah, this is calling in.
Yes. How you doing?
Harry?
Yes.
It's Travis. It's Coach Travis, Harry.
Hey, how you doing, Coach Travis?
Trav, what up, Trav?
I'm good. Hey, now. Hey, Coach said.
hey, Coach Ryan.
Yeah. Talk to us, Coach, man. How do you feeling, man? We're talking about pretty much Baltimore City, Baltimore County football, state playoffs. Tell me some of the things that you used to do as a coach to get the Dunbar Poets ready when they was going to battle.
The main thing was just having attention to detail. It's one game at a time, not trying to look too far ahead, look to the championship or anything like that. It's a new season, everybody's 0-0. We got to take care of the first game at hand. And of course, we was in there on the film and studying and just paying attention to all the little details. Get the game plan together. We have to do to execute the game plan. Just make sure everybody's on the same page.
Got you. So you guys, are you still coaching at Owens Mills?
No, I am not coaching anywhere right now.
Okay. Because I think somebody had told me you were at Owens Mills. So now you're not coaching, man. How does it feel this time of the year not to be coaching? I know it's kind of killing me not to coach right now.
Man,
A little got the itch a little bit, a little antsy, but just watching from afar, enjoying some football. I'll get out to a couple of playoff games as the playoffs go on. Of course, I still love the game. Just give me a little time to sit back and relax.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. But thanks so much, Coach, man, for giving us a call. Keep tuning into the show, man. I hope you enjoy what we're doing, what we're trying to bring to Baltimore. I can tell you, Baltimore City football probably miss you as a coach, man. You brought a lot to the game, man. So hope you come back soon.
Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate what y'all doing, even though I'm not coaching and things like that. What y'all doing has been a long time coming, so keep up the good work.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. All right.
No problem.
All right, guys, and we're going to kind of wrap it up. We got 3 minutes. Again, synopsis of Baltimore City football, Baltimore, the metro area football. Right now, just looking at some of the games coming up this weekend or this Friday. You have Emerson and Forest Park at Poly at 7 p.m. You have Dunbar and Lake Clifton. Dunbar and Lake Clifton at Dunbar 7 p.m. And at 2A, you have Owens Mills going to Milford, and you have Hereford going to Newtown. But that game will be played at Woodlawn at 7 p.m. And in the 3A, you have Towson coming to Murrow at 7 p.m. I think what should be a good game in that 3A will be Dundalk traveling to Franklin on that Friday at 7 p.m. We can kind of give a little, predictions on some of these games.
I like that. I'm not going to pick anybody either way, but that Owens Mills Milford game might be a shocker.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be a shocker. That's my bold prediction. Other than that, Dunbar gonna run away with it 1A.
All right. So now give me a game that stands out to you, Coach said. So we ain't gonna do predictions tonight. We just what the game that stands out.
I think all of them going to be pretty tough. And I think Lake Clifton, man, I think they're going to play Dunbar pretty tough, man. I think so. I think they ain't going to just let them roll over them. I don't think so. I think Coach Money going to have them right.
Money got some guys.
All right, Coach Nick, what about you, man?
Sure, they are, like Coach said they are some tough games. I think that Lake and Dunbar game be a tough game for the first half, but Dunbar ended up running away with it in the second. They just built like that. But that Forest Park and Emerson game, I know Mr. Daniel like to handle that ball, but Forest Park ain't no slouch, man. They real big up front. Real big up front.
Yeah, and I heard they added 6 players recently, man. So that kind of changes the dynamics of the team. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Hereford Newtown game. I'm not gonna again pick upset, but you know Hereford, you know they kind of playoff built. This is their type of weather, you know, kind of cold. You know, it's a new stage for Newtown, even though they've been there for a few years. But that game kind of intrigues me.
Well, I tell you what, Newtown is lucky that it's not in Hereford, because we just came from there, and it's hard to play against 17.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You know, you playing against 11, but when you add 7 more, you know, it's not good. You know, when it's just really blatant. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Newtown defense pretty tough. They gonna control the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach Savage, that you know they're on a mission. They're on a mission, and just looking at some of these matchups, it looks like it's going to be a Baltimore County matchup. And even in that 1A, I'm just hoping that the teams continue to win. I would love to see a Dunbar Emerson state championship game down Annapolis. Yes. So, hey, this has been another episode of Changing Baltimore. We've been brought to you by Tone Drone LLC, Brain Strain Media,
TJ,
and Mo's Famous Seafood. Man, Baltimore, we love you guys. Thank you for having us in your homes, your cars, wherever you're watching this, man. We definitely appreciate you. Please continue to watch, get back, and we'll go. Thank you so much, Baltimore. See you next week.